Welcome, stranger. Today's video is going to be about lenses. I've done so many on cameras lately. I decided I would concentrate, make a few videos about lenses. Lenses. I don't get them that often in the shop because you can buy them so cheaply on eBay, but occasionally I do get one. And I've repaired thousands of them in the past. And I can show you a little bit about what to avoid as far as bad lenses on, as far as purchasing. If you go to a camera show and you're looking at a lens to buy, I can show you what to look for and what to avoid. Anyway, let's get started. All right. I've done a lot of videos on cameras, but not many on lenses. Let's see how bad I can mess this up. Well, I'll hit this right here. Okay. I picked a Canon 70 to 210. Looks like a 1.4 to use as an example. The front of the element here has no scratches. That's the first thing you would check for in any lens. If you were at a camera show or if you bought one off eBay. Same in the back. This one looks like it needs cleaning, but looks like it's okay. So, scratching, that's obvious. So what else? Well, if this lens were, say you were a nature photographer and you needed a very powerful, expensive telephoto that cost, say, $1,000. If you could find one that had a scratch right along the edge, I know that's a horrible thought, but if you could, and it wasn't too deep and it was like 1/4 of an inch long, say ½ inch in maybe, no more, you could get by using that by using your higher f-stops, not 4 or 5.6, but up here, and using a lens hood on the front. You don't want the light to hit that scratch, so you always want to make sure it's shaded by a lens hood when you're using it. And will you say, well, why would I want a scratch lens? Well, because if that lens costs $1,000, you might get it for $200. All you need to do is point it out to the owner. Look, it's scratched there. And maybe he'd knock off $800 if you want to get rid of it. So that's something to think about. If you got a real expensive lens and you don't have a lot of money, you can buy a scratched lens as long as it's near the edge. Never in the center, but along the edge is okay. I've used scratched lenses before, some that were pretty bad, and they didn't even show up in the pictures. Scratches normally won't show up if you'll use a lens hood, counting how bad they are. But like I said, you never want the scratches to be in the center. Make sure they stay along the edges. That's something to know about scratches. And the next thing, I wished I'd had it when I was doing my video about fungus. Let's see, whoops, hit one of the cameras. I'm going to move this over here like this and tilt it slightly. If you'll look, you'll see some blue here. That's coating. Now look here on the on this Canon here. Kind of stumbling around here. You see that blue? That's coating. It'll be different colors on different lenses, but most of the time it'll be blue. Okay, here we are again. Coating, no coating. That's what I wanted to tell people when I was doing my video on fungus, is that when you are cleaning an element with removing the fungus, and we might look better on this over here, when you're removing the fungus off a lens around the edge, you remove this coating, that blue. There it is. There, it's gone. And it's really easy to see. If the on inside elements is not so obvious, but here on this front element is very obvious. The former owner cleaned this with some sort of abrasive cleaner. I don't know what. But he rubbed it and removed the coatings off the front. And you can see now when the light hits where it's coating, you can see down inside. Not very well. But here, the lamp that is above is reflected right off the glass where there's no coating. And it's something to be aware of on lenses, that you want to make sure the coating is in good shape, front and back. Let's look on the back here. Coating looks okay. You can see it's blue. Evidently, he just damaged the front. Anyway, that's what I wanted to show you, is that when you buy a lens, check your coatings. Check it for scratches. Check your coatings. Check it for fungus inside. Fungus normally will be along the edges. That's where it starts, if it does start in your lens. And the next thing I wanted to show you, next two things you won't see very often, but as a camera repairman, I can tell you, so at least you'll know. When they put together a lens, I don't know how it's done. Computers figure it out, I guess. They have elements, and they are a certain shape and a certain size, and they put the elements in there, and it gives you your picture back over here, or you expose your film. But occasionally, what they have to do is they have to get a convex and a concave lens and glue them together. I don't know what type of glue it is. Maybe it's something strong like epoxy. I have no idea. But whatever it is, it makes it to where it's not one lens, but it's two lenses, even though they're glued together. And when the light hits it, it behaves in such a way as if it's one lens, both the convex and the concave lens. And what will happen over a period of years is that glue, like any glue, will start separating here along the edge. Never usually in the center. It starts at the edge. So if it starts up here at the top, you start getting a big brown bubble when you look down through it inside from the front of the lens. You normally can't see through it. On this side where it has not separated, you'll be able to see inside the lens, the back. But here on this side, you'll see this brown bubble. It may be shiny in the center, looks like water maybe, but the lens, of course, is worthless. So you'd look down inside, like this for it. I don't need to be putting that steel near that lens. And the lens separation, let's say, is up here, and it would be brown, and it would look like a water bubble in a way. And that's your separation. Normally it only happens on the cheaper third-party lenses, but I have seen it, and it's something to be aware of. People normally, customers will bring it to me and they'll say, well, can you clean that? It looks like water or something got in my lenses in there. And when I see it, I immediately know that they've got lens separation and that it can't be fixed. A customer has even asked me, well, can I take the elements apart and re-glue them back together? I've never tried. I don't have any idea what type of glue to use or if I would do it right, so I've never tried. Normally, it's just cheaper to get a new lens or a used lens than pay a repairman to work on the lens. It would have to be an awful important lens to want to go in there and separate the elements and glue them together. You know, some high-powered outfit like Zeiss might do it to an old Zeiss lens that had a tremendous amount of value. But for a normal consumer lens, of course, it's not worth it. So the last thing to check for on lenses, which you will seldom see, is, let's see if I've got the right lens here. That is not it. Looking for, it's not here then. Yeah, okay. That'll work. And that is not the right button. There it is. Okay, this is a Tacchina. It's what I call a third-party lens. Because back at the time when I was a photographer, I didn't have a lot of money, like most people. I had a Nikon, or a Nigromat actually. I had many cameras, but Nigromat. But I couldn't always afford the Nikon lenses. So I'd buy third-party. Tacchina was one of those. There was also, who else was there? I can't remember right off the top of my mind what they were, but there were two or three that were, Vivitar. Vivitar was one. It was very popular, and there's Tacchina and a few others. Anyway, these third-party lenses would have a glass element on the front and a glass element on the back, but occasionally to save money, they would put a plastic lens inside. I don't know how many, but I have seen plastic lenses put in these lenses. Not always, these third-party. I'm not knocking third-party. I'm just saying that they can have plastic elements inside their cameras or their lenses. There's a lot of cheap lenses out there that are even less valuable than Tacchina or Vivitar, and I know they use plastic lenses. So how do you know? Well, what I'm saying is you look down there and you see a milky, round element. It'll be just like the element on the top here, but it's not glass, it's plastic. And after a while, the plastic starts turning, as plastic does, and it'll turn a milky white, and eventually will be totally opaque white. So that's something I've seen. And the reason I know this is customers have brought me lenses before, and they'd say, boy, one of those glass elements in there looks dirty. Can you go in and clean it? And I tell them, no, I can't. It's plastic, and it's turning opaque, and it can't be cleaned. It needs to be replaced, and it's not worth replacing. I'd have to locate another lens and get an element out of it, and eventually it would also turn milky. So there's no point. They just need to get another lens. So that's something to look for in lenses, which there's more to this video I'm going to show you. But the glass, the coatings, get it here in a second. Coatings, the lens separation, plastic lenses, and fungus. And so when you're looking down inside your lens that you're thinking about purchasing or that you've just purchased off eBay, as far as the elements themselves, that's the things that you need to look for and go from there. And there's other things, but the next parts are mostly mechanical, not glass. Okay, let's move on. Okay, the next part of this is about the mechanical parts of a lens. On the first section we just left, we were talking about the glass and the different elements. And now we're getting on to the mechanical parts of a lens. The brass, the aluminum, the steel. Here is an example of a lens, and it's been taken apart. I wanted to show you what a helical is. And let's see, we can flip that like so. And like so. Okay. If we can twist this the right way, maybe it goes the other way. I've forgotten. Oh, maybe this side. Yeah, there we go. That silver part you see is the helical. It's the heart of all lenses. And I mean that literally. Every lens you've ever used had a helical just like this one. It's a very large, coarse thread. You can see the size of it compared to my tweezers here. Sharp edge, in other words, square, not rounded, and packed with grease. White grease, black grease like Molly Lube, yellow grease, kind of like you put on your cars. But each lens manufacturer has their own grease that they use. Greases come in normally 3 grades: light, medium, and heavy. A light grease will allow the lens to move very freely. Very heavy grease will cause the lens to move very stiffly. And each lens manufacturer does it their own way. So that was the main thing I wanted to show you before we start discussing the lenses, because these helicals are a major part of the problem. Before we get started on that, I want to digress here and explain that if you take a lens to the beach and white sand gets in here, which it can because the lid is not sealed, and that sand gets in that helical, it'll mix with that grease. You'll never get it out. And your lens will now be ruined, because every time that you focus your lens, or if it's a telephoto, if you're zooming in and out, that white sand will start grinding away on the aluminum. This is aluminum, this helical is. Sometimes they're brass, sometimes they're steel. One's not preferred. There's also a plastic, which I would avoid. The very cheapest lenses use plastic. They don't last very long. So you want to keep lenses off the beach, and only take cheap throwaway cameras to the beach. If you don't take your good equipment, if you do take it, don't set it on the beach. Keep it around, it's on a strap around your neck. Don't get it near the beach. Don't get it near the seawater. But I thought I'd throw that in right quickly, because I've seen a lot of lenses come to my shop that I turn them and they feel gritty, and I know immediately they've gotten sand in the helical. Okay, let's move on here. Okay, in discussing lenses mechanically, I put this mic here purposely. I don't know how well this is going to work. We'll try it and see what happens. I'm going to switch here. Now, when I switch this, my voice is going to sound terrible because I'm on this mic and I'm not on the overhead mic. But still, you can understand me. Okay, switched. Okay, you put your fingers not back on. This is the f-stop ring. You don't put your fingers there. You put them in forward, and then you put your fingers on the focus, and you twist like this. If you're testing a lens, say at a camera show, and what you're looking for is play in the helical. Now, it's possible that screws could be loose inside, but that still doesn't help, because you're still going to have somebody go in and tighten those screws. But most of the time it's the helical. It's just the camera has had so much use that the helical, which I just got through showing you, is loose. Sometimes you can pack the helical with a good heavy grease and you can quiet it down, but you normally can't eliminate this play. And this is the biggest thing I see the most often. When a lens comes in, The first thing I'll want to do is I want to see how much wear is on the helical. And this is something for you to watch. And you'd say, well, are all lenses like that? Well, here's another one. It's also a Nikon. Same place. Fingers back here on this fixed part. Up here in the focus. I'm doing the same thing. You can look at my fingers and see I'm not cheating. And I'm twisting back and forth. It's not moving. And if it is making noise, it's not making much. It's very quiet. So the helical on this particular lens is not worn. It hasn't seen much use. So this might be wrong way. This might be the first test you want to check a lens for when you pick it up off the table. There's other tests, but on this test here, you want to see if the lens has any play in the helical. Now, there's some people that would say, well, there's more to it than that. Well, yes, of course, there's more to it than that, but I can't show you everything. I can't make you into camera repairman. But as a general rule, when you pick up a lens, if it's doing this, it's either a helical or it's a screws. And most often, it's the helical. And so that's a good test. Now your f-stop ring, which is here, is always loose. It has to be, because it has to move. So it'll always have some play. So that's not what you want to grip. You want to grip in front of the f-stop and grab the focus. The focus is attached to one of the tubes, and the tube, of course, has the helical that is attached to the other helical. Okay, that's what I wanted to show you. The first thing. There's some other tests, and we're going to go through them. They're not as pronounced as that test, but still, I'll go ahead and show them to you over here. I guess I need to switch that back. I was looking through my lenses, trying to find something that another one would make noise. Like I said, I threw all my bad lenses out, so I'm having a hard time finding defective lenses here to show you. But I found this one, and the thing is that the noise is not all the way through. As you're focusing, at first it sounds good, it's quiet, but then it gets noisy toward the end. And it's something to check. Don't just focus it just slightly. Go all the way from infinity all the way to the close setting and check it all the way through. So let's listen to this one here. Starting at one end, going forward. You hear it there? Noisy, then quiet. Again, noisy. Something's wrong there. Then quiet. Something's rubbing here. Then quiet. Anyway, there's a little lesson there that I've given you with noise when you focus them. So the first thing you want to do is check the helicals and see if they're loose. The next thing you want to check is to see if the focus is quiet. That's two tests you need to run on a lens, aside from checking the optics. Okay, let's move along.